Hello everyone, it's Karina with Karina Loves to Plan. Welcome back to my channel. I have here a long awaited pen. Now, I'm going to explain this a little bit more, but this was a pen that first came on pre-order, gosh, I can't even remember, months ago as an M800 model. And then the M1000 model came along not too long after that. And I decided that if I am going to get this particular model and get an M1000 in a Pelikan, I'm going to save what I can, use whatever credit I can to get this. So yes, this is an M1000. Oh my gosh. And I am just so excited to show this to you. I pre-ordered this from PenChalet. And I had first done a pre-order for the M800 through Atlas Stationers. Then I found that it was actually cheaper at Endless Pens. And then I saw, that was for the M800 model. And then I saw that the M1000 model was going to be available and saw that it was still available at PenChalet. And I had credit that I had earned through referrals through PenChalet that helped pay for really the majority of this pen. I don't think I would have purchased it without that referral credit, because you guys using my PenChalet link has helped me get this. So really a lot of this is for all of you who are using my link, so thank you. So this is the clamshell box that this comes in, and I love this. And then when you open it, I do keep my boxes, by the way. You get the passion, and then you have the "We wish you a lot of writing pleasure with your fine writing instrument." And then you have the Pelikan warranty there. And then you have this leather sleeve that houses the Pelikan M1000 in Renaissance Brown. Now I said to myself, if I'm gonna get an M1000, it might as well be the Renaissance Brown. And oh my gosh, let's move that to the side here and just marvel at this pen. This is coming along during my brown era. I am still in the brown pens and ink era. And oh my goodness. You have here on the clip, it says Pelikan, Germany, and just look at the, sorry, that's not the clip, that's the band on the cap. And I will be comparing this to the other Pelikans in my collection shortly, but that's just a thick band on the cap there. And then you have the Pelikan on the finial, and then the Pelikan beak clip, which I do love this clip. And it's just such a beautiful, beautiful resin. And then we have this massive, massive nib. And I love Pelikan's two-toned nib. So this is an 18 karat extra fine nib, and it is a beautiful nib. Like, how gorgeous is that? And it's got the Pelikan on there. And if you're not familiar, yes, this is a piston fill pen, but oh my gosh, that feels beautiful in the hand. And how does the piston feel? It feels quite smooth, actually. My only concern is that, one, there's no ink window, and two, it's not as transparent as I thought it would be. I'm gonna hold it up to the light here. Okay, it's a little, I know it's not on camera, but it's a, yeah, actually, when I hold it to the light and I move the piston, yes, you have to hold this to the light in order to be able to see it, but it is a little bit translucent, transparent, and I think that's great. Oh, that is beautiful in the hand. So the M1000 is the flagship model for Pelikan, and the Renaissance Brown was one that was, I believe, released quite a few years ago. I don't remember the exact date. If you know the date that the original Renaissance Brown was released, please let me know down in the comments below. But I know that they don't do a lot of these special editions or these limited editions in the M1000 model because, one, it's just expensive. It's very expensive to do. So when I saw that the M1000 was being produced or was producing the Renaissance Brown, I was just, I have to get it. I have to get it. So let's quickly compare this to the other Pelikans in my collection, and then we'll also compare it to other pens as well. But even before I do that, actually, how many turns does it take to uncap? So we've got one. I think it's like one. Let's try that again. Yeah, just under one. Really efficient, really efficient. So let's go ahead and compare this to other pens in my collection. So there's the Pelikan M1000 in the Renaissance Brown, and then we have the M800 in the brown black. And look at the difference in size already between the two. Now, I don't have an M400 or an M600 to compare. I only have my two M800s to compare because the M600 was just that bit too small for me, so I sold both. Sold the one that I had and sold my M400 as well. But look at the size of that. And then doing just a quick nib comparison as well. So that is the nib on the M1000. And even the nib actually on the M800 is very similar in size to the Yovo number 6. But oh my gosh, that's a huge difference. Huge difference. And I'm just gonna pull out I'm gonna compare it to like a Leonardo Momento Zero. Compare it to an Esterbrook Esty. And compare it to a Momento Zero Grande 2.0. Let's actually cap these again so that we can see what it is, what the sizes are capped. Remove that one. But yeah, just looking at the sizes, you can definitely see how much bigger that M1000 is, not just in length, but in width. Yeah, the Momento Zero Grande is still the biggest one. And the Esty looks like it's just that little bit longer as well. And then comparing it to, I'm pulling out pens here on the side, sorry for shaking the camera. Comparing it to a Lamy 2000. I'm also going to compare it to one of my larger pens, really, is a Laban 325. And I'm going to compare, let's move this down a little bit here, compare it to a TWSBI Eco as well. And actually, in terms of size and length, it's not that much bigger than a TWSBI Eco in terms of length, but it is definitely bigger in terms of the width of the overall body. So let's go ahead and look at these uncapped. I love the comparison once you uncap all of these pens, because really, once you uncap them, I'm just looking at the longest one here. Let's all line them up properly, Karina, so that they're all, there we go. But in terms of length, it looks like the M1000 is probably up there, or at least in the top three with the Momento Zero Grande and even the Laban. But in terms of nib size, the M1000 has the biggest nib. Like, look at the difference between the TWSBI Eco nib, which is, I believe, a number 4 size nib, compared to the M1000, which I believe is a number 8 size nib. And then you have, you know, the Momento Zero, which has a number 6 nib. So does the Esty and the Momento Zero Grande. So these are all number 6 size nibs. This is a number 4, and this, I believe, is the number 8. And it is massive, massive. So let's go ahead and weigh the pen, and then we'll do a quick writing sample. All right, so capped, this pen weighs 33 grams, and then uncapped, it weighs 24 grams. So really about 10 grams for the cap. So actually, like, that is a good weighted size pen. I actually want to compare it to the Pilot Vanishing Point. That is 31 grams, and that is a hefty pen. But uncapped, that one's 23 grams. So like, just this in itself is lighter than a Pilot Vanishing Point. Amazing, amazing. All right, so I decided that I am not going to ink this up because, as you know, I currently have 11 pens. 11 pens inked up for the month of July. So I'm just going to do a dip test with Diamine Chocolate Brown. And I have here my Galen Leather A5 notebook with 52 GSM Tomoe River paper. This stamp is from Everyday Explorers Co. and I believe it's from her new Pen Day collection. So I will do a quick dip test. Now, just saying here that a dip test is not always going to be the most scientifically accurate, but it will give you at least an idea of how the pen is going to perform. Okay, this is the thing though, because there's, all right, and I'm gonna have to wipe that off because knowing me, I will probably get, oh, shaking again, sorry. I'll probably get ink on me. All right, so we have here, oh gosh, that feels so good in the hand. We have Pelikan, oh my gosh, that nib. Pelikan M1000. And the nib, this is an extra fine. And oh my gosh, this is the Renaissance Brown. And it is inked with Diamine Chocolate Brown. That is wet, juicy, and I'm gonna show you, like, this is a very bouncy nib. It's not meant to flex, but that is a very bouncy nib. I'm kind of glad that I got this right before I'm leaving for the Pacific Northwest Pen Show, because I might get this ground down. It feels like a medium, and I love the softness of the nib though. I never thought I would own an M1000, first, because it is so expensive, and two, there were no colors that really called to me and none that I really liked, and I didn't want to have another black green. They're beautiful, but I just didn't want another black green. When the M800 Renaissance Brown first came out, I hesitated buying it and I missed out, and then it came back on pre-order and I jumped at the chance on that one. But then I still was kind of humming and hawing about whether or not I should go for it, and then the M1000 pre-order came out and I switched my M800 order to an M1000, and I am not disappointed, thankful for my PenChalet credit. The writing experience with that is just so juicy. One thing I did have to say though, I was wondering why, like, it felt like it was scratchy, and I hate saying that with a pen that costs so much. But then I put it under the loop, which I'm thankful I shelved. I say, how much was this? I bought this from PenChalet as well, and checked the tines, and they were like misaligned. The tines were misaligned, so I actually just did a quick adjustment on them. Basically what I did, and please do not do this unless you are actually comfortable, is just adjusting the tines a little bit like that, and then checking them again under the loop. And I know you're not going to see this, but yeah, under the loop they're now in line, and you can tell, yeah, because when I was writing this out it felt like they were misaligned, but now that I've just done that quick little adjustment, it has fixed that. And I know there's a lot of people who, and I'm one of you, who say like we shouldn't need to adjust the tines or have anything wrong with it, and it's all quality control, and I absolutely agree. So I'm thankful that I was able to easily fix that, and it writes beautifully, but it shouldn't have come like that anyway. But my overall thoughts on this is, one, writing this out was so comfortable. This is a beautiful size in my hand, and I'm not going to post it because then it's like a monster of a pen. This particular size is very, very comfortable in my hand. The M800 is comfortable in my hand, and this is also very comfortable in my hand. I thought this might be too big for me, but it actually is lovely. And the threads on here are not at all sharp, so my hand rests there really well, and I don't feel that at all. And then the way that tapers is actually good for my hand as well. I don't feel any type of, I don't think it's at all uncomfortable. And then there's a little bit of a lip before you get to that beautiful 18 karat nib. I think with how this wrote and how wet it was, I might get this ground down even further, because as you know, Pelikan nibs are wetter and they're also wider. Like my extra fine in my M800s writes like a fine, so I might get this ground down to even finer to make it more suitable for my day-to-day writing. And plus it's a gusher, and I mean, I only dip tested it, but wow, absolutely wow. So for me, was this worth it? Yes. Yes, it was worth it for me, but it also helped that I had store credit, or referral credit that I earned through the help of so many of you using my link. Without that, I don't know if I could have purchased this. And there's a lot of pens out there that I will never even consider because they're just out of my price range, and the M1000 was one of those pens that I just did not consider. But when it came to the original M800 Renaissance Brown, when that pre-order came out, I sold quite a few pens to help fund that. What month was that? There was a month where I sold, I think, like 8 pens or 8 pens. Hey, we can actually even look back in my book here. Hold on. Was it the month of, let's see, April? April I sold 4 pens. March I sold 5 pens, or I was down. No. 8 pens sold in March and 6 pens sold in April. So selling that many pens helped me to fund that M800 Renaissance Brown. But then I also found the M1000 and had that funding for it, as well as the credit. But anyway, this is not one for the faint of heart in terms of finances, and I will not take for granted how lucky I am to have been able to purchase this. All right, but that is it for me. What are your thoughts on this pen? I cannot stop looking at it. I'm actually really glad that it arrived before the Pacific Northwest Pen Show, because now I'm going to rinse it out and get the nib ground down by Gina Celerino. I have an appointment with them on Sunday morning, so I'm very, very excited. Ooh, I can't stop holding this pen. It's just, oh, fantastic. Fantastic. But yeah, I do need to get it ground down to what I prefer. Oh, again, that is it for me. Thank you all so much for watching and for continuing to support my channel. If you have any questions, please let me know down in the comments below. Once again, thank you all so much for watching, and have yourselves a great day.